Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Brian Taylor, and this last week I had bariatric surgery. So I had the gastric sleeve surgery, and I've been very weak. So I haven't been able to physically come out and do any videos. Just carrying the camera out for this is actually kind of exhausting. I'm doing well and I'm recovering. I'm losing weight. That was my goal, and hopefully the next year or so you'll see a very different person on these videos as far as the way I look. But enough with that. You guys are obviously noticing the really cool shirt. One of the reasons I'm wearing it is because it is a 3X, and most likely I won't be able to wear it much longer. It's already so much baggier than it was the last time I tried it on, so I was like, I better get it on some videos. So what I've done is I've created a few videos on air layering, and I'm gonna publish them separately in case somebody wants to see the specific variety of plant for propagation. So this first video is gonna be a Pakistani mulberry. So if you just watch, follow my instructions, you should be successful. When all's said and done, I'm gonna do a kind of reveal video, taking the foil off and showing you what it looks like on all of mine. So just follow the playlist if you're interested in seeing the final results. Today is September 15th, and these were all air layered on September 1st, so they've already had 15 days. So I plan on doing a reveal on the 30th and adding that video to the library on that playlist. So enjoy. Alright, the first thing that I'm going to show you guys is some of the supplies that are needed to complete this project. So you're going to need aluminum foil, a grafting knife, or any type of sharp razor blade, zip ties, Ziploc bags, and some peat moss or cocoa core. You're also going to possibly use rooting hormone. It's not necessary. And then I also have some cups that you see online that you can use. So the first step is identifying the nodes. In this video you can see I'm pointing towards where all the different nodes are. Nodes are where either leaves will sprout or a different branch is going to sprout. So you identify those and you try to cut so that you have at least one node in the middle, and then one node that you are actually going to be cutting out, and that is where hopefully you're going to see some of your major root formation beginning. Then with your knife you're going to cut around in a circle. Try to cut evenly and straight as possible so that you're not going to have any extra rips when you're taking off your bark. You want to push hard enough that you're getting through the entire bark layer. You don't need to push so hard that you're going to push all the way through your branch. Keep in mind, if you have a smaller branch, you're not going to be pushing as hard because your bark layer is going to be much smaller. But go around in an even circle, and then once you've completed that, then you're going to do a straight cut either up or down along the bark, just connecting your two cuts together. Then with the flat end of your knife, make sure you hold on to the blade portion, not the knife portion, or it can snap back and cut you. Go ahead and pull back some of the bark. You could probably do this with your fingers, but that's what that part of that tool is for. And then peel the bark back. That's such an awesome feeling, peeling that off. That's the inside of the bark, and then you can see right here we have the node that was removed. So that's been removed. So now with the sharp portion of the blade, I'm going to rub this up and down until you start to see the white cambium layer. It doesn't come out very strong on this video, but the cambium layer is there. And in case you're wondering, I did speed this up. It was pretty fast. I almost didn't need to speed it up, but because it took so long, I sped it up to 150%, just so that you guys could not have to sit here and wait through that. This process is pretty quick. You just want to make sure, it's probably the most critical part of the operation is just getting as much of that cambium layer exposed as you possibly can. That's why I'm being pretty thorough on it. If you do hit like a knot, it does make this a little bit harder. You just got to work through it. Once you've scraped off that inner bark layer, is what I'm calling it, and that cambium layer is exposed, then you're done. The next step on our list, I'm getting some of my my rooting hormone. This isn't a requirement, but rooting hormone does help speed up the process. That's why I'm going to be using a generous amount of it on this, just because I want to make sure that I give this the best opportunity it can to develop roots, especially since I'm making a video for you on how to do this correctly. So I'm going to coat that outer layer, which 90% of what you're seeing there, the cambium layer, is exposed, with a very thick, healthy layer of this rooting hormone. I didn't use as much on some of my future videos just because I kind of got better at it, but I did clump that on there. So for the next part, I grab a Ziploc bag full of cocoa coir or peat moss. This one in particular has peat moss in it. And I get the bag and I get my knife and I cut it long ways around the bag. Same direction that the zip tie zip is, or the Ziploc bag zipper is. I open that up to make sure that it's as wide as it could be. I'm just kind of demonstrating there. I think a leaf fell in, but I'm not worried about it. Then I grab the bag, put some zip ties in my mouth so that I have two hands, put it around the entire area, kind of peel it open so that all of it is making contact, hold it pretty tight, and then while I'm holding it, I'll get that first zip tie. You want to make sure these zip ties are holding it tight, because that moist cocoa coir, which I forgot to mention, you need to have it be moist. You want it so that it's still sealed so that it doesn't dry out very quick. Especially in Arizona, it's going to dry out real quick. This is where I made a funny mistake and I went around another branch. Watch, when I get this, I get frustrated. I'm like, oh crap. And it's hot and sweaty. It's September. So I go out and I get another zip tie just so that I can finish it the right way. I like using these long zip ties. They're not necessary, but these zip ties do help with the process. You don't have to worry about it not being long enough, and you just cut off what you don't need. So for speed, it's definitely helpful, but it's not a must. You could probably get 12-inch zip ties and be just fine for most of your air layering applications. So I make sure that it's where I want it, and I cinch it tight. You can see as I cinch it, it's really compressed in there, and it's really, really tight, which is what we want. Then a trick that I like to use is I like to use just fingernail clippers to clip off the zip ties, just really fast. Learned that from cutting zip ties at work during my manufacturing job. But if you don't have a pair of dikes, just a pair of fingernail clippers does the trick. So then that it's ready for its final step, which is aluminum foil. Getting this aluminum foil around your air layer protects it from the UV rays. Also protects it from any extreme exposure that might come across your bag that could dry it out and cause your roots to not take. So wrapping it around really well and then compressing the ends as best you can, and then your traditional air layer is now complete. Very easy step. So now I want to show you guys another way of air layering, which I haven't tried yet. I'm going to be using those plastic balls that you see on a lot of like Wish and Amazon. They're all over the internet as ways to air layer. So once again, I'm checking for the nodes, finding where I want to put these nodes. I have this entire segment just kind of in fast forward 150% speed 2, just because we've already seen it. Same process. Making sure that we're cutting around the entire bark layer so that we're not having any issues there. Once that's done on the top and the bottom, this one actually has a couple nodes in the middle, so hopefully it'll be a little bit better chance. I'm going to give this the best chance it can, but I'll tell you why I am not super confident in these store-bought air layering kits. I'll take it and cut bark off. It is hard doing them backwards too. This one wasn't as pretty as the last one. And then once again, really trying to get that cambium layer exposed on as much of it as possible to give it the highest success rate available. Switch to my other blade, which I think I like a lot better. It's actually a curved blade on my grafting knife. That blade seems to be a little sharper too, so doing much better peeling off all that extra inner bark. And you guys can see I was rushing in this video, but I almost hit my hand a couple times. with the knife, and there's a few times I actually hit the hand, like right here. I think you see me putting force in my hands down there. That's a very bad way to cut. I think I realized it and started going up. I did hit my hand one time or two times and decided that I wasn't going to do it that way. Oh, look at the dangerous way I'm doing this. Don't do that. Hold it from the top, or put something that is going to stop your hand from getting cut, like a nice thick pair of gloves. So that's completed. So now I'm going to put on some more rooting hormone, just like you saw me do in the last segment. And once again, just a really good application. Want to make sure that I'm even on what I'm doing here. I don't want to give one side a better opportunity than the other. Then I've got these shells that I packed really well with the peat moss, so same exact medium I'm using. They do have some interconnecting tabs that don't really work. They kind of work. I mean, they wouldn't have held up alone without the zip ties, so that's why they include the zip ties. So I snap those together so that it's right around the layer. But one thing I noticed with these is that there's a lot of exposed sections that are exposed to the elements, and that might work well in an area that rains a lot. But because we're so dry here in the valley, I just feel like this peat moss is going to dry out really fast, and I don't think it's the best way to do it. So one step that I'm going to take is I'm going to add water to this, just to make sure that everything is working correctly and we're not having any drying issues. But if you're in a wet climate, that might work out much better. Wet climates will probably be better for this anyway in the long run, because they're gonna just maintain that humid level, which we're looking for. The zip ties are actually really small, and they were really hard to get on straight. I think this top right one that I'm about to do right now, I went in and it was backwards like 5 times. I was starting to get frustrated with it. I'm like, am I an idiot? And I know I am, but I eventually get it on. So that's pretty much the air laying video for the Pakistani mulberry. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and I will have an update, like I said, on a playlist video. So do subscribe and put your name on that playlist, and you'll be able to see the updates as soon as they show up. Thanks. Bye.